Hey guys, this video is, let's see, what, 3-4 days late? Supposed to make this on, or post this on Monday, and it wasn't made on Monday, and neither was it on Tuesday or Wednesday. Excuse me. Actually, I was gonna make it last night, but let me tell you what happened. See, we had like this whole plan set of things that we were gonna talk about all month about confidence, and guess what? I accidentally deleted that message from my inbox, so I don't have that list anymore. So if any of my friends from the collab channel have it and want to share that with me, that would be really great. So I'm just going to talk about confidence today. Actually, we've been talking about confidence for the last 4 weeks, okay? And I have to tell you, I'm really tired. I'm in graduate school now, and it is just taking that out of me right now. It's fun, but it's a lot of hours, and I have to commute to school twice a week, which is about an hour away on a good traffic day. And usually what that translates to is on Tuesday mornings, I leave my house at 6 a.m. so that I can avoid all the traffic and get to school by 7, and then I sit and study for 2 hours, and then I have all my classes in grad school are 3 hours long. So that means I have 4 actual classes on campus, and for 2 days a week I get to sit in classes for 6 hours each day. Now, if you can't imagine that that's difficult for a person with ADHD, but it's okay. I'm getting through it. So confidence. Let's talk about confidence today. Here's what I've been thinking about confidence. And we have a lot of situations in life, and whether it be abuse or loss or self-esteem issues or eating disorder issues that either affect our confidence or as a result of having that condition, sometimes having an eating disorder, I think, kind of goes both ways. We lack confidence and we develop an eating disorder, but when we have an eating disorder, it makes our confidence even worse. And that same can be said with drug addiction or other, self-defeating behaviors. We're less confident because we have those thought patterns, and then when we have those thought patterns, then we actually react on them. It gives us less confidence. So, it made a lot of sense, didn't it? Anyway, you could tell it's been a long week. This is what graduate school does to you. Okay, so I'm in a social work program at the University of Utah. And with confidence, it's really interesting, okay? I'm going into a field that requires me to have confidence about myself. At the same time, I've been healing, and I've healed from a lot of things. So when I know that other people that are in the field, that are in school, are kind of in the same position, and even people I think that have been in the field for a long time, that while there may be therapists in the field, for example, who are helping people to build confidence, but they are also working on their own confidence issues, whether it be minor or severe or what have you. My point is, everybody has areas in their life to which they do not feel confident about. And usually the reason is we feel inadequate, and I think the reason that we feel inadequate is because it may be because we fear failure, or we fear, it may be that, for example, if you were a brand new doctor out of residency and suddenly you're on your own and you are doing your first solo operation. I don't know how they do it, but let's just say, just stay with me for a minute. naturally you're going to have probably some fear about that, and hopefully you've developed enough confidence that you've been to medical school and you know that you're competent, because we shouldn't be doing things we're not competent of, or if we should develop the competency first. But on some level, he's going to be lacking some confidence. Now, I think that is actually healthy. Okay, I think sometimes we react to that feeling as like, oh no, we have to hole up and we're afraid of failure. But what gets this doctor through it is his knowledge that he's been through school and he's been studying for all these years and he's had supervision, and so he knows at some level he has developed enough confidence that he can perform this, but he's also got fear, and so he has to work through the fear. Now, if you can translate that into life, whatever it is that you're doing in life, I think sometimes we have these fears of performing in life. So what we tend to do is that if we don't have the knowledge and it's an area that we don't feel competent in, then we have to find a way to cope with that. We can't just not perform at life. So we develop these maladaptive behaviors to make up for the lack of confidence that we have. And I think we need to reframe that and realize that not having developed that confidence is not a bad thing, because that's a lifelong issue. And like I said, people that are in helping profession, I can guarantee they haven't worked out all their issues themselves. But as they've gone through and gained the knowledge and probably have done some self-work in the process, they've developed enough confidence that they do have a certain level of competency to take that knowledge and to help other people and hopefully follow ethical laws and standards and regulations and not harm people. What can happen is if somebody loses that sense of fear and inconfidence on some level, then that actually can be a bad thing. If you had a surgeon that absolutely had no fear about making a mistake ever and was overconfident, that would be somebody I'm afraid of. The same with a therapist, that has all the answers, because what happens in life is you gain knowledge, and the more knowledge you gain, you realize the less answers you have and the more unique situations that come up. So why am I saying all this? What is this all going to? Because this may all seem scattered, but what this is coming to is that we have to stop looking at things as, I'm afraid of that, I don't feel competent at that. When it comes to life, I feel afraid of my emotions. I don't feel competent enough to handle and to process my emotions in a healthy way, that I am going to be taking responsibility and sorting through things and learning how to handle them. I don't feel competent at doing that. So I'm going to retreat and not do it by hiding myself behind my eating disorder, my addiction, my depression, my isolation, whatever that is, and not challenge that. Instead, we need to reframe that and say, okay, I don't feel competent in this area, so I need to gain some knowledge. I need to get some schooling in life. So how am I going to do that? I can go to therapy. That might be a good place to start. I can start researching things. I can outreach to different people, different groups. I can even serving in areas that I want to learn more about myself, in a place where I know that I'm safe, that I'm going to be supervised competently, and that I have an outlet if I get triggered or things get overwhelming. Those kind of things can be healthy steps towards developing the confidence and the competence to recover. So competency and recovery, maybe that's a new term. When we begin, sometimes we don't feel like we have the competency to handle our emotions, and so we learn that, but learning is an experiential thing, and so just like somebody that's maybe going into a medical field or into a helping profession where they have their own issues to work on in the beginning and probably throughout life, but especially in the beginning, they're going to a place where they're learning the competency and hopefully working through those things as they go on to become a competent provider. So just remember, you are the provider of your life and your life skills. So have a good night.